All right, guys, welcome back. All right, so now we're going to take a look at stem changing verbs. Okay, we're going to take some notes and we're just going to try them out today, and then tomorrow you're really going to practice them. All right, so let's start. And I kind of created some guided notes here for you so that you could have them organized and figure out what these things are. All right, now here's what's nice, guys. These are called stem changing verbs, because stem changing verbs are verbs that, hopefully you thought this in your head, okay, have a spelling change where, you ask? Well, they nicely named them stem changing verbs. So they have a spelling change in the stem. Okay? So not only are you going to change the ending of these stems or these verbs to tell you what, who's doing the action, who or what's doing the action, but you're also going to change the spelling of the stem as well. I like to call these verbs like plastic surgery verbs. We're going to change the spelling of the stem. It's going to change how it looks, but it doesn't change who that verb is inside, right? So you give it a little facelift, but it's still the same verb underneath, okay? So we've got stem changing verbs. These are verbs that have a spelling change in the stem. All right, in the present tense, so right now that's all we know, there are 3 types of stem changes that can happen. Okay? We can have verbs that are going to change in that stem. They're going to change an O, and they're going to change it out for UE. You're going to have some verbs that are going to change an E to IE. Oops, that's supposed to be a dot. There we go on the I. And then you're going to have some verbs that in the stem, they're going to change an E to an I. Okay. And what I want us to note is that I put a little asterisk here, a little star. That's going to be important because these ones, the ones that change E to I, you're only ever going to see that happen in an IR ending verb. Okay. So let's go ahead and fill our chart down here. So we're going to put the same stem changes, okay? O to UE, E to IE, dot on the I, and E to I. And we're just going to go through and we're going to say where we will see these. Can we have an O to UE in an AR verb? Yes. Can we have an O to UE stem change in an ER verb? Yes. Can we have an O to UE stem change in an IR ending verb? Yes. Ooh, that went weird. Okay, check again. Yes. Okay, so O to UE stem change can happen in an AR verb, an ER verb, or an IR verb. Okay. E to IE can happen in an AR verb. It can also happen in an ER ending verb. And it can also happen in an IR ending verb. So we will see some stem changes, E to IE, in AR, ER, and IR verbs. Now when we get down to this last one, E to I, where the E is going to change to an I in the stem, remember that we highlighted up here that we will only see this happen in IR ending verbs. So that means we will never see it in an AR verb and we will never see it in an ER verb. Okay? Now, here comes the next question, right? The question is, okay, so we have these verbs that are going to change their spelling and their stems. We're going to change out the O for a UE. We're going to change out an E for an IE, and we're going to change the E to an I. But how do we know when to do that? How do we know which verbs we're going to do this for? Well, here comes the real kind of sucky answer, guys. You don't. Nothing about a stem changing verb stands out. It doesn't do a song and dance for you. It doesn't say, hey, look at me, I'm a stem changing verb, right? So, when we learn these verbs that are going to do these spelling changes, these stem changing verbs, okay? Because nothing about a stem changing verb stands out, so you're going to need to memorize. Which verbs are stem changing. So you're going to get a list, okay? You're going to see this list, and we're just going to have to memorize. I'm going to put a Quizlet set on for you, and you're just going to have to memorize and practice which ones are going to do these spelling changes, okay? Now, stem changing verbs, they're going to do this stem change. They're going to change the O to UE, or the E to IE, or the E to I, okay, in all of the conjugations, so in all forms except for nosotros and vosotros. In those two conjugations, in those two boxes, we are not, I repeat, not going to stem change. So, I'm going to highlight this, and you can just simply draw a box around or put check marks in. We're going to do that in a second. But I'm going to highlight the boxes that we will stem change in. Okay. So this is the box. This is where we will stem change, okay? Now sometimes, all right, and actually let's go ahead and we're going to say yes, we're going to stem change there. Yes, we're going to stem change there. Yes, yes. What we're not going to do is we're not going to stem change here, and we're not going to stem change there. So, let me go nice and fat. Okay. If we take our pen and we draw a box around, right, where we're going to stem change. These verbs often get referred to as boot verbs. Ooh. Oh, hold on. I'm writing too close to the edge. Can everybody see the boot? Okay. It's a very weird shaped boot. It's very like, almost looks like an Ugg with a super flat foot, right? But they're called the boot verbs because inside the boot, we're going to stem change. Outside the boot, we're not going to. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to see this happen. All right? Now, I'm going to go ahead and just draw the boot in to show us where we're going to do this. On these verbs. Okay, so we've got the boot. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look at the verb contar, and we can see that our stem is C-O-N-T. We're going to drop the AR off, just like we know how to do that. So because we're not going to stem change those, we're just going to go ahead and write that in as our stem. Okay? But for all the other ones inside that boot, we're going to swap out the O for UE. Because contar is an O to UE. Oops. That U didn't go right. It's an O to UE stem changing verb. So we're going to memorize that. And then what we're going to do is instead of putting C-O-N-T, we're going to put C-U-E-N-T. And then all we do, make sure I'll give you a second to write that down. So again, inside the boot, we're switching the O out for UE. All right, now all you're going to do is go in and add on your correct endings. So in order to say I count, you count, he counts, she counts, we count, etc., we just need to add those endings, right? So it's an AR verb, contar, so we can even go back up and look at our endings, right? For AR verbs, here's our endings. So we're going to come back and we're going to add those on. So we've got yo cuento. Tú, come on, sorry, my pencil went weird. Cuentas. Él y a usted cuenta. Nosotros contamos, because we did not switch the O. Vosotros contáis. Ellos, ellas, ustedes cuentan. Got a sound difference there because we changed the O out for UE. Okay? The verb querer is an E to IE stem changing verb. So we take a look. Querer means to want. We take the ER off and we're left with QUER. We're going to go ahead and do that for these two boxes because we don't do anything to those two boxes. They didn't get invited to the stem changing party. So we get quer. But in all the other boxes, we're going to change out the E for IE. Quier. Quier. Quier and quier. And then all we do is add on our ER endings. So if you went back up to the top and you looked at your note, or sorry, for you guys, it's the front side of your sheet. If we look at the ER verb endings, if I want to say I want, I just add an O. Quiero. You want. Quieres. Él y a usted. He wants, she wants, you want. Quiere. We want. Queremos. Y'all want in Spain. Queréis. Accent on that E. And y'all want or they want, quieren. Okay. And then we've got an example here, pedir, which is an E to I stem changing verb. So now that we've got in the habit of knowing how to do these, I want you to try this one. So you're going to pause the video. You're going to try it. If you're really not sure, don't write anything in. Just talk it out with the person next to you. But when you're ready, unpause the video and then see the answers and see if you got it correct. Okay. So hopefully this is what you came up with. The IR is our ending, so we drop that off, and we're left with PED. PED in these two boxes, because that's our stem. Ask, right? Ask for. But in all the other boxes, we're changing out the E for I. So instead of ped, we get ped. So hopefully that's what you got. So in all of these boxes, pide. And then we just go to the front side of your sheet. Look for the IR verb endings. So if I want to say, I ask for, pido. Tú pides. Él y usted pide. Nosotros pedimos. Pedimos, right? You hear that difference. Vosotros pedís. Accent on the I. On that ending I. And then ellos, ellas, ustedes piden. So hopefully you did well on that. Okay. Now, last little bit before you're going to try some of these, okay? If a stem changing verb, and remember, you're not going to know which ones are, you're going to have to memorize. Once you see the list of them, you're going to have to memorize. So if a stem changing verb has more than one stem changing vowel in the stem, okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at preferir first so you can see this first part of the note. So here's my ending. This is my stem. Well, the problem is, inside the stem, I've got two vowels, and this happens to be an E to IE stem changing verb. So, right? In this stem, I've got two E's. So which one do I change? Do I change both of them? What are we doing, right? So because there's two E's, here's the rule. If a stem changing verb has more than one stem changing vowels, or I should say more than one stem changing vowel, in the stem, you will change the one closest to the ending. So that means we're going to change that one. We're just going to look to see which one is closest to the ending. And whichever one it is, that's the one that we're going to change. So again, I'm going to draw the boot. Okay. Draw that boot. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start in the two boxes where we're not going to change, because that's easy. I just put my stem. Prefer. Prefer. Oh, and you know what? Let's put down here what it means. It means to prefer. To cognate, right? We can see that. Okay, so prefer, prefer. But in all the other boxes, that second E in the stem, we're going to change it out for IE. So we're going to get prefier. 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 We change that E out for IE. Okay? And then we just do what we did before. It's an IR verb. So just like above with pedir, which was an IR verb, we just have to add on our correct endings. So we have prefier, 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 prefer, prefer, prefier. Let's add on endings. So I prefer, prefiero. You prefer, prefieres. He, she, or you formal prefer, prefiere. We prefer, preferimos. Y'all prefer in Spain, preferís. Y'all or they prefer, prefieren. Okay? So now you've seen the three types of verbs: regular, irregular, and stem changing. Okay? What you're going to do now is you're going to practice a little bit of the stem changing so that tomorrow you can do a little bit more with them. All right? I'm going to put these onto Quizlet also so that you can practice them. So that'll be a link as well for you guys. So let me know if you have any questions. But tomorrow, double 8 start, so you're just going to use the period to practice these. and so that you feel ready for when your new teacher shows up on Monday. Okay? All right. Good luck, everybody.